Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Prem Singh host Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai, Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sri Maya Purnavi Dham ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Tosa Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Go Premanandi, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So this morning, on this Ekadasi day, we're going to read from the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, and I also will say some other pastimes some of you may have never heard before. There's still a lot of pastimes of Prabhupada that devotees don't know about, so it's nice to hear new pastimes. So this chapter is Developing Mayapur. Boy, Prabhupada would be very pleased now to see the temple rising now. Almost finished, just 2 more years. And Sri Sri Radha Madhava will move into their new home. Haribo. Another priest came to see Prabhupada. And again, the question came up. Prabhupada asked him, then, you are in favor of killing? So Prabhupada speaking to a Christian priest. The priest replied, well, it is a fallen world. In other words, it's okay. Prabhupada said, it is a fallen world, but we do not have to be among the fallen. The priest cited the covenant with Noah. Prabhupada replied, maybe Noah allowed it at that time, the time of devastation, but that doesn't mean you always have to do it. To live in such a time, one can eat anything and stay alive. But now, so many things are in abundance to keep healthy without maintaining a slaughterhouse. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, protect the cows. It is the duty of the Vaishyas. Although Prabhupada willingly discussed with Christians, he admitted privately that to argue with them was a waste of time. And then another thing to think about when we're speaking to Christians or even people of other beliefs, our philosophy is so elevated, so much superior. I grew up a Christian, and I know, Christianity, there is no philosophy actually in Christianity. It's very shallow, but they believe in God, so that's good. But if we present our much superior philosophy to them and defeat them, they can become atheists because they lose their faith in what they were following, so they could actually become atheists. So Prabhupada would encourage them to be good Christians. Don't stop your Christian faith, but be a good Christian. Don't kill animals. Follow the 10 Commandments. Be a good Christian. We're not interested in converting them. Prabhupada, many times Prabhupada said, we're not trying to convert the Christians or the Islamic people into Hare Krishna. No. Prabhupada said, if I would have done that when I went to America, they would have kicked me out. But no, I never said, give up Christianity, become a Hare Krishna. Oh. Although Prabhupada willingly discussed with Christians, he admitted privately that to argue with them is a waste of time. They will never agree, he said, even if they are defeated. The best way to preach to people in general was through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. As at the Rath Yatra festival. Chant, dance, take prasad, and invite everyone to join. Anyway, he said, they don't even follow their teachings. One boy came to me and said he wanted to talk. He said, I am a Christian. But I told him, you are not a Christian. Thou shalt not kill. So Prabhupada considered if they eat meat, they're not really a Christian. A man from Calcutta came to see Prabhupada. But as soon as the man began to say something about Krishna, Prabhupada interrupted him. Krishna is something very difficult to understand. We are just trying to understand that there is a next life. But the Christians say, there is no future life, the man said. At the end of this one, you either go to heaven or to hell. Prabhupada said, but if they talk about going to heaven, then that is a next life. But knowledge of Krishna is only for the most perfect out of thousands among men. So I'll say a few things about some of Prabhupada's pastimes. There's, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this pastime of Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was a son of a maidservant. And during the rainy season, some saintly people stayed in their home. And she took care of them, and the young boy also rendered service to them. And he took some Mahaprasad from them. And it's described that he became purified by taking this Mahaprasadam. And Prabhupada says in her purport that pure devotion is as much infectious in a positive sense as an infectious disease. In other words, if one associates with a pure devotee in any way, then in a positive sense, he catches this devotion of the pure devotee. Just like now we have this coronavirus, and people are afraid all over the world. People are scared of getting this virus. But there's a transcendental virus. I don't know if many of you know, but the original typewriter that Srila Prabhupada used in the early 1900s, the typewriter was called Corona. Corona. And Prabhupada was typing on that Corona typewriter, and the coronavirus was spreading. Now millions and millions of people are hearing the words of Srila Prabhupada typed on a Corona typewriter. So, and this virus is spreading. We all caught the virus. Very auspicious. And we're trying to become free of the material virus. We're just trying to become filled with the transcendental virus. It's called karuna. Karuna means mercy, compassion. Parama karuna bahudvijana nitai gaura chandra. So Lord Chaitanya, he is the most merciful. So we want to spread this karuna virus all over the world and eliminate this corona virus. Because this will bring happiness. Yeah? This Krishna consciousness will bring happiness to people. And this is the desire of Srila Prabhupada. Our mission is to see that everyone becomes happy. What a nice mission. Huh? That's our mission statement. That everyone in the world become happy. There was one instance where Prabhupada was visiting one temple, and one Mataji, one of his disciples, went to him and said, "Prabhupada, I had a wonderful dream last night. I dreamt that the whole world was chanting Hare Krishna. Everybody was chanting Hare Krishna." And Prabhupada's eyes became very wide. He said, "Oh, very nice dream. And that is my desire." That everybody chant Hare Krishna. But there's people that are not interested in chanting Hare Krishna and serving Krishna. And they come up with their own ideas, just like here in Bombay. Prabhupada, you know, he used to go on his morning walk here on the beach. And there was one Dr. Patel that would join Prabhupada, and he would walk with Prabhupada and the devotees. And quite often Prabhupada, he would criticize the materialistic swamis that were not following properly. They would speak so much, but they weren't following the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So one time, Dr. Patel said, "Why are you always criticizing them? You know, they have their way and you have your way. Just let them go on their way and you go on your way." So Prabhupada replied, "It's just like a doctor. Imagine there's a doctor, he's doing some surgery. Or I'm doing some surgery in a hospital. I'm in the middle of the surgery, and someone comes and interrupts me. He's not even a doctor, but he interrupts me. What do? Get out! Get out! You're interrupting me. Go away. Go out." So Prabhupada said, "I'm trying to help the conditioned souls get purified and engage in devotional service. And so many of these swamis are coming in, and they're speaking all nonsense. They're interrupting my service to Krishna. So my duty is to criticize them, to smash them, because they're misleading. They're misleading the people. Some of these swamis, they even say, yeah, do whatever you want, you know, it's okay, just think about spiritual life and just do whatever you want, though, it's okay. Just chant this mantra and do whatever you like." So much cheating. So much cheating is going on. Prabhupada said, "But I have not come here to cheat you. I've come to give you the highest method of pure devotional service." So this is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And quite often when Prabhupada would preach, so many people would come, and upon hearing his pure message of Krishna consciousness. So many youth in America, so many young Americans joined the flower, the flower buds of the country. Beautiful young boys and girls were joining. And one of them that joined, he was the only son of a multi-millionaire, Giriraj Maharaj. Now his parents, when they heard that he had become a Hare Krishna, they were, to say the least, upset. But then he went to India. Prabhupada, in 1970, he asked all the temples to send one good man. He's going to start his preaching in India. So Giriraj, brahmachari at the time, he was one of those who came to India, specifically to Bombay. Now when his mother and father found out that he had gone to India, that was just too much. Or he's already become a Hare Krishna. I mean, that's too much in itself. But now he's in India, and he's the only son. So they decided to fly to India and try to convince him to go back to America. So he hears that they're coming, he gets the flight information, he picks them up at the airport, and he's driving them back to the temple. And immediately the father is trying to convince him to go back to America. He said, no, I don't want to go back to America. I like it here, I like India. So the father thought, well, maybe he can get the sympathy of his guru. So he asked Giriraj, make some appointment with your guru, I want to speak to him. He said, okay. There was Prabhupada, Giriraj, Prabhupada's servant, and his mother and father. So the father said to Prabhupada, this disciple of yours, he's our only son. And we're very attached to him. We have great affection for him. Can you please ask him to go back to America? So Prabhupada asked Giriraj, would you like to go back to America? No, Prabhupada, I want to stay here with you. So Prabhupada said to the parents, what can I do? You don't want me to force him, do you? No. There's a saying that a man forced against his will is of the same opinion still. So they didn't want him to force. So Prabhupada said to Giriraj, well, listen, why don't you compromise? Go with your parents to the foothills of the Himalayas, Hrishikesh. They have very nice accommodations there, nice hotels. You can maybe spend a week with them there. And he said, yes, I can do that. So they did that. And their parents were very happy. They spent some time with their son, foothills of the Himalayas. Not everybody gets to go there, so they were happy with that. So then after they spent some time with him, they came back to Bombay. And he wanted his parents to get some more association with Srila Prabhupada. So he arranged another meeting with Prabhupada, with the parents. So Prabhupada didn't preach to them. See, preaching also means knowing what not to say. Knowing what to say and what not to say. So he knew what not to say. He just befriended them. And Prabhupada, he's a very friendly person. This is one of the qualities of a pure devotee, very friendly. So Prabhupada was very friendly, and he was joking with them, differences between America and India, and just joking, just had a pleasant time. And when they left, they were very happy. So the servant said to Prabhupada, after the parents had left and Giriraj had left, the servant said, Prabhupada, you amaze me. Everybody loves you so much. And Prabhupada replied, that's because I love everyone so much. Prabhupada ki jai. So this is Prabhupada. And this is why this movement spread all over the world. Because Prabhupada was filled with so much love in his heart. He spread it all over the world. Amazing. So, sometime later, more devotees started coming. And you know, Prabhupada, he wanted this this transcendental Sankirtan team to travel around the world. This was thought about when Prabhupada was in San Francisco. So he wanted a whole team of devotees just traveling around the world, doing Sankirtan. So this is what they were doing in India. That never happened with Prabhupada and many devotees traveling around doing Sankirtan. But that did happen in India. About 30 devotees were traveling with Prabhupada all over India. And Prabhupada had so much energy. He would sometimes have 4 or 5 programs in one day, going to people's homes. Prabhupada would go to some person's home, and devotees would hear about it. And by the time the devotees got to that home, Prabhupada was already gone. He's going to another person's home. You know, so they were just trying to follow around Prabhupada. And remember, he's 74 at that time. He's an elderly person. He's just going all over the place, just having programs everywhere. So at one point they went to Madras. And there was one minister of justice who was very fond of the devotees. And he told Prabhupada that they can all stay in his home. He had a big home, 4-story home, and he told Prabhupada, all your devotees and you can stay on one flat, one level, big house. So this gentleman was very fond of Saraswati. Saraswati was about 3 years old, 3 or 4, something like that. And she would chant and dance very enthusiastically at pandals, at programs, people's homes. She was very enthusiastic. And she had blonde hair. You know what blonde hair means? Blonde, you know this word blonde? Yeah? How many of you know the word blonde? Okay, blonde means her hair was like golden. You know, American, you know, they have men and women, they have blonde hair. It's kind of like golden. But many of you don't know, but in the Bhagavatam it's said that Narada Muni, he has golden hair, not black, like we see in the books. Golden means blonde hair. Very beautiful. But for some reason, in the books they have it in black hair, but he doesn't have black hair. Golden. Maybe someday they'll change that. But she had this golden hair, you know, cute little and she would dance, and the Indians, they would see this and they were just like just amazed to see this little girl dancing and chanting so enthusiastically. So this man was attracted. So he gave her a gift, and it was a solid silver murti of Krishna. And she was very happy to have this murti of Krishna. So she was admiring the murti, and then she put it down and she went plain. She went plain in the house. And Prabhupada told the man, it's a very nice present that you've given her, but she's a young girl and she'll probably lose it, and it's expensive. Solid silver murti of Krishna. So he asked the man, do you have something a little less expensive? Because most likely she'll lose this. She said, yes, I have. So he went. And he took the murti as well. So then Saraswati, she came back, and the murti that she had put on the table wasn't there. So she asked the devotees, where's Krishna? Where's Krishna? She's asking the devotee, where's Krishna? And Prabhupada caught her mood. And he said, Saraswati, maybe he's in the bedroom. Maybe someone put him in the bedroom. Go in the bedroom. So she runs into the bedroom, looks all around in the bedroom, comes back. No, Prabhupada, he's not there. Check the other bedroom. Maybe in the other bedroom. So she runs into the bedroom, looking all around. No, Prabhupada, he's not there. Check the kitchen. Maybe he's in the kitchen. Maybe someone made an offering and they put him in there. And she runs into the kitchen, looks all around. No, Prabhupada, he's not there. And Prabhupada started chanting a verse. He Radhe Vraja Devi Ke Chalalite He Nanda Suno Kuta Shri Govardhana Kalpapada Bhatale Kalindi Vanye Kuta Gosanta Vrti Sarvato Vrajapare Kedar Mahavivalo Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were going all around Vrindavan looking for Krishna. Is Krishna on the bank of the Kalindi, and the Govardhan Hill. This is the mood of the gopis, actually. So this is the mood of the 6 Goswamis, this mood of separation. So this little Saraswati, she had this mood. Where is Krishna? She's separation, feeling this separation from Krishna. Where is Krishna? So then one of the devotees, her father, Shyamasundar, said to Saraswati, Saraswati, who has Krishna? And then it dawned on her, Prabhupada has Krishna. So she went to Prabhupada, paid obeisances to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you have Krishna? Yes, I have Krishna. And by then the man had returned with another form of Krishna, murti, but made of clay and very colorful. You've all seen those colorful clay murtis of Krishna. So it wasn't the same murti, but it was more beautiful, more colorful. So she was very happy. She was happy. She had a murti of Krishna. So the devotees, there's about 30 devotees watching this amazing pastime of Prabhupada, bringing out so much devotion from a little 3-year-old girl. This is Prabhupada. You know? He brought out devotion from where it was sitting. You know? Actually, this devotion for Krishna, it's sitting in the hearts of everyone. And Prabhupada had this amazing purity to bring it out. You know? To bring it out. And he's still doing it. He reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die while still living in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy name around. So by this book distribution, this devotion for Krishna, it's coming out because people are hearing the pure words of Srila Prabhupada. So therefore it's so important. And now because of this pandemic, we're kind of taking it a little easier, but we should all know this is the most important activity. Prabhupada wanted everyone to get at least one BBT production, one book. One book at least, to give them a chance to hear about Krishna. Last year when I was in Mayapur, one very senior devotee, many of you probably know him, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhu. He makes murtis. He's helping in the TOVP. He told me of a pastime that happened in Los Angeles with Srila Prabhupada. This is maybe 1972. So there was one servant that was guarding Prabhupada's door so no one could just go in and disturb Prabhupada. So it was late at night, and this servant, he heard some shuffling in the room, and he couldn't figure out what could that be. So in this door, it was one of the old doors. You can see through the keyhole. You can see through. So he looked through the keyhole, and he saw Srila Prabhupada. He's shuffling around on the floor. He was surprised. But then he just continued his guard duty. And later in the day, this devotee, he had a nice relationship with Prabhupada. So he said, Prabhupada, you know, earlier this morning, I heard some shuffling in your room, so I didn't know what it was. So I looked in to see, what is this? And I saw you shuffling around on the floor. What was that, Prabhupada? What were you doing? Oh, I was wrestling with Balaram. Oh, you were wrestling with Balaram. Okay. Well, that explains it. Thank you, Prabhupada. So that shows the position of Prabhupada. He was a cowherd boy. In 1975, I'm sure all of you know that there was a big marathon, BBT marathon, to print 17 volumes of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So before this marathon, the Chaitanya Charitamrita volumes were coming very slowly. I think there was like one every 4 months, something like that. Very slowly. And Prabhupada was really upset that it's taken so long for them to publish the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in 1975, the BBT moved from New York to Los Angeles. And everything had been set up for publishing this Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books. I think 5th canto as well. So Prabhupada was on a morning walk with the BBT devotees. And Prabhupada brought up this problem with the Chaitanya Charitamrita taking so long to be published and printed. So Rameshwar, he was in charge. And he said, Prabhupada, I think we can do like one a month. I'm almost sure that was it, something like that. From one every 4 months to one a month. And Prabhupada thought about it. It's going to take a long time. He calculated, that's going to take a long time. So Prabhupada thought, I think you could do all of it, 17 volumes, in 2 months. And Rameshwar and the other BBT devotees. Prabhupada, 17 volumes in 2 months. We consider that to be impossible. What did Prabhupada say? Impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. And then they knew, all right, we've gotten an order by the Guru, by our Guru, Prabhupada. So then they went in the back of the group and they started discussing. And they, you know, the intensity of Srila Prabhupada was transferred into them. Like, all right, we got to do it. Prabhupada said to do it, we got to do it. Because there's a statement that the ability to follow the instructions of the spiritual master are within the instructions themselves. The ability is there to follow the instruction of the spiritual master in the instruction. So then they gained faith. They thought it was impossible, but then they thought, well, we're just going to have to go on a marathon. So they went on a marathon, 7/24, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 2 months. They were on shifts. Sometimes the artist would be painting and they would fall asleep. And then another artist would come by and he would finish it. And amazing, everybody went on a marathon because of that intensity, that desire of Srila Prabhupada to print these 17 books. Everybody in the LA temple went on a marathon. The Spanish BBT, the diorama team, everybody was on a marathon. The book distributors, everybody went on a marathon. But Rameshwar said, but Prabhupada, to do this, we're going to need you here in Los Angeles because it's in Bengali. So we're going to need you to help us in this Bengali because nobody here knows Bengali. So Prabhupada said, okay. So devotees were ecstatic. Prabhupada's going to be there for 2 months. And we're going to do this marathon. But after some time, I think 6 weeks or so, Prabhupada said, I have to go. Devotees are calling me everywhere, I have to go. So everybody knew Prabhupada's leaving the next day. So it was a huge kirtan. All the devotees came to the temple that night. Sundarati. Just filled, completely filled up. Ecstatic kirtan. At one point, Prabhupada gets off the Vyasasana and starts dancing, ecstatically. Now, every woman, child, and male, everybody was just dancing, practically the ceiling was coming off. It was just, you can't imagine how ecstatic it was. It's going on and on, this ecstatic kirtan. Then eventually the kirtan ends, Prabhupada sits down on the Vyasasana. And Prabhupada says to the devotees, did you see? Did you see? Did we see what, Prabhupada? Narada Muni, Sukadeva Goswami, Lord Shiva, they were here dancing. You didn't see? No, Prabhupada, we didn't see. So Prabhupada was so ecstatic, seeing these devotees, these Nitya Siddha devotees there in the kirtan. So, by Prabhupada's desire, those 17 volumes were all published in 2 months. Prabhupada was very happy. There's one instance where a young man, this is I'm not sure where in India, but Prabhupada was doing a pandal program. And there was one young man who was very inspired by Prabhupada's lecture. And after the lecture, the devotees made an announcement that Prabhupada's going to speak again the next day at another place. So this young man, he was so inspired by Prabhupada's presentation that he wanted to go the next day to this other program. So the pandal was a big pandal, so he couldn't see Prabhupada from where he was. He could hear him, but he couldn't get a clear visual of him. So he went to this, next day he went to this other place, and this elderly man is sitting in front of the hall, and he went up to him, this young man went up to him, and he said, "Excuse me, do you know where A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is?" And the elderly man said, "Why do you want to see him?" "Well, he's my guru." "Oh. Why do you want to accept him as your guru?" "Oh, because he's teaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." "Oh, and who is Lord Chaitanya?" "He's God." "No, he's not God. He's a devotee of God." No, he's God." No, he's a devotee of God." No, he's God." "No, he's a devotee." "You stop." The young man told the elderly man, "Stop. Stop speaking. Stupid, stop. Stop." And then devotees started coming and they were paying obeisances to Prabhupada. That was Prabhupada. And then he realized, oh, you're A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Prabhupada started laughing. He started laughing and laughing. He said, no, it's okay, please come to my room. And Prabhupada was laughing, and he told her, "Well, he chastised me. He chastised me. He's a good boy. This boy's a good boy. He chastised me." So that person became Radha Govinda Maharaj. Now he's a big devotee now as well. So many disciples preaching. So, is his health okay? Huh? His health? He's in Vrindavan. Health is, getting better? Yeah. Because I know the health was down. Amazing preacher. He comes here, huh? You were just there? Oh, he's your guru. Oh yeah. Great preacher, isn't he? He comes here a lot probably, right? Amazing preacher. So that's how he joined. Interesting, huh? Chastising Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was playing with him. Yeah. Amazing, huh? Prabhupada's so amazing. There's one instance where Prabhupada was in Mauritius. And Prabhupada was in his room. And one devotee was walking by his room, and Prabhupada called him over and said, "Can you get me a cup of water?" "Oh yes, Prabhupada, I'll be right back. I'll get you a cup of water." And he went running. And another devotee was on the second floor, rooftop. And he saw this devotee running, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing? Where are you going?" "I'm going to get some water for Prabhupada." He wanted a glass of water. No, you can't do personal service for Prabhupada. You're too fallen. So this person who Prabhupada asked to get water, he had some difficult times. So Prabhupada came out of his room and said, what is the problem here? And he was the temple president that was telling this devotee, "You can't do personal service for Prabhupada." The temple president said, "Prabhupada, this devotee, he comes and he stays for 2 months, then he goes off and he does all nonsense, and then he comes back a month later, then he goes again 2 weeks, he does all nonsense, then he comes back. He's too fallen, Prabhupada. He can't do personal service for you. And Prabhupada looked at the temple president and he said, this movement is made of fallen souls. You too. And the president said, oh. And then the devotee that was to get the water, he went running to get the water and brought it back to Prabhupada. So that's what this movement is made of, Kali Yuga. Everybody has fallen in Kali Yuga, right? So that very much humbled the temple president. There's one instance where in America there was a devotee, he was traveling around America and he was making a lot of devotees. Brahmachari, very good preacher, making so many devotees. And Prabhupada heard about this devotee. And this devotee just happened to be at this temple where Prabhupada was visiting. And the secretary said, hey Prabhupada, you know that devotee that's doing so much preaching, making devotees? He's here now. And they were in the temple room, chanting japa. And Prabhupada said to this devotee that's making so many devotees, do you want to take sannyas? And the devotee said, yeah, that'd be nice, take sannyas. See, back then it was very easy to take sannyas. Yeah. So Prabhupada said, all right, come tomorrow and we'll discuss the sannyas ceremony. So he was just going to take sannyas, 2 days, in 2 days he's going to take sannyas. Now it takes years, You got to be a certain age. And so anyway, so he said, you come to my room in the afternoon and we'll discuss the sannyas ceremony. So he did that. He went in the afternoon to see Prabhupada. And the secretary there said, do you have an appointment with Prabhupada? Yeah, we're going to discuss my sannyas ceremony. And the secretary said, you're going to take sannyas? Do you know what that means? That means no sex the rest of your life. Do you ever have sex desire? And he said, well, sometimes, I don't know, you should take sannyas. That's a heavy step. So they were talking and talking and talking and talking. And then they were talking about who he should marry. He had a change of heart. So he didn't go see Prabhupada. So the next day, Prabhupada saw him and said, I thought you were going to come and we're going to talk about the sannyas ceremony. And he said, well, Prabhupada, I was thinking maybe I should get married. Who's been talking to you? He said, well, Prabhupada, your secretary. And Prabhupada said, Syamasundar, get in here. Why are you talking to my brahmacharis? He wanted to take sannyas and now he wants to get married. Why are you doing like that? And Syamasundar said, well, Prabhupada, he said sometimes he has sex desire. And Prabhupada made an amazing statement. He says, anybody that has a material body will have sex desire. And then Syamasundar said, oh, sorry, Prabhupada. But it was too late. So that's an interesting statement. We have these bodies, that desire will be there. But it'll come, let it go. Apoyamanam machala pratistam samudravapa pavasanti yadvat tadvat kami yam prapasanti sarve sasantin apnoti nakama kami. One who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires which come like rivers into the ocean, which is always being filled, but which is always steady, alone achieves peace, and not the person who strives to satisfy such desires. Yeah. So these desires will come. But what do we do when these desires come? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And we'll get purified. Let them go. Some desires we want to keep securely in our hearts. There's another pastime. Prabhupada was at one temple, and the Sankirtan leader said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, at this temple we have a very strong desire to distribute your books. And Prabhupada said, very good. Don't let that desire go. So some desires, we don't want to let them go. Yeah? If some desires come, get out, get out. Prabhupada was in England, arrived at the airport, and there was a reporter there, a British reporter. He asked Prabhupada, why have you come to England? Prabhupada said, you British, you went to India, and you took so much assets, jewels, people, and cloth, so many things, but you didn't take the most important thing, the Vedic literatures, the Vedic wisdom. So I've come to give you what you forgot to take. This is what is most important, the treasure, the Vedic wisdom. So I've come to give you that. Okay. Thank you. Another time, right there in England, he was on a japa walk in London. And you know, Prabhupada, he used to brush his teeth with neem. Very antiseptic, really good. He didn't have any neem. But something that is almost as good is eucalyptus. Also is very good for brushing teeth. So Prabhupada was in one park, and there was a eucalyptus tree in this park. So he told his servant, go up in that tree and get some twigs about that big. I'll use it for brushing my teeth. So the devotee climbed up the tree, and while he's in the tree, one policeman came. He said, hey, what are you doing up there? Well, I'm getting some twigs from my spiritual master. No, you can't do that. Come down. So the devotee said to the policeman, I can't tell him no. He's my guru. You'll have to tell him. All right. So the policeman went over to Prabhupada and said, you know, you have your disciple up there getting twigs for whatever. He can't do that. Prabhupada said to the policeman, you British, you went to India and you took so much. You took so much from India, and you're telling me, an Indian, that I can't have a twig from your tree? He said, all right, go ahead. Prabhupada was sharp, yeah. Prabhupada was, before Prabhupada did his preaching all over the world, he was a pharmaceuticalist. So he was working, and he had one customer who could see that Prabhupada wasn't just doing business, but he had great devotion for God. So he said to Prabhupada, Abai at the time, do you have the tonic by which I can get the love of God that you have? And Prabhupada's very humble. I don't have love for Krishna. I don't have that tonic. But I do have the formula. Anybody know the formula? Huh? Tanadapi sunichena tarorapi sahisana manina manina kirtaniya sadari. This is the formula. Thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer our respects to others without desiring respect for oneself. In this way we can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. There's one other pastime. I'll tell one more pastime. In 1967, Prabhupada is in San Francisco. And there's already many devotees there. Not even from his preaching, but from the preaching of Samasundar and Malati and Mukunda and Jamuna and Guru Das. These devotees, they were preaching. So Syamasundar at one point, he went up to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I have some bad news. I have to go to jail. Prabhupada said, why? I was selling drugs, Prabhupada. I got caught selling drugs. Oh, that's okay. I used to sell drugs also. But Prabhupada, I have to go to jail. Ah, that's okay. Krishna, he was born in jail. Pretty amazing pastime. Krishna's pastimes are amazing. God is born in jail. Who would think? You know, I mean, that's like, I mean, these pastimes must be real. Who could think of such a thing, right? Who could think of such a thing? God is born in jail, you know. Nobody could think of these things. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Do we have time for a question? Any question? Or comment, or another pastime? Today's Ekadasi, more hearing and chanting, right? Yes. I think a microphone is coming. Within 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, there it is.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class, Pastimes of Prabhupada. Question is, as we know and you also said, the power to follow the instruction comes within the instructions only. So when the spiritual master instructs somebody, and many disciples are there for any spiritual masters whom he instructs, but very few follows. So if the power is coming within the instructions only, so why everybody cannot able to follow the instruction?
You have to want to follow the instruction. You have to want to follow. That's the problem. A lot of people, the instruction is there. They get the instruction. Just like, you know, there's 4 types of disciples. The first class disciple, he knows what the spiritual master wants without even being told. That's a first class. And Prabhupada said he had one disciple that was like that. Shrutikirti. Shrutikirti Prabhu. Prabhupada mentioned that he's a first class disciple. He could tell what Prabhupada wanted without even being told. Second class, the spiritual master tells the disciple to do something, he does it very enthusiastically. He follows the instruction, you know. And because he's faithful and he's sincere, he's successful. Third class, he's given the instruction by the spiritual master. He does it, but reluctantly. Yeah, all right, if you really want me to, all right. Fourth class, doesn't do it. So if someone wants to follow the order of the spiritual master, they can do it. But that's the key, our desire. Okay? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.